Hello, hello, and welcome to the Let Us Talk podcast show, the show that is rated R for real and not PG for playing games. I am one of your hosts, the boss lady.
And I am the D.O.C.
Join us for our weekly conversations about life, marriage, and everything else. Get to know us, get to love us. This episode is sponsored by Cigar Junkies. Check out Cigar Junkie Apparel at cigarjunkies.com. This episode is also sponsored by CJS Educational Services, so check us out. Right? Any shots out for this week before we jump into our show?
No, what I just want to tell people real quickly is make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button. That's very important. Not only just liking it, we appreciate the comments, the likes, the comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. The other thing, really quickly, before I give out quick shout outs, there was one comment about my glass. Some guy said, is this some shit that I use to put my nose in? No, it's actually used for a cigar rest. So you actually use it to rest your cigar on. But I have an ashtray here, so I don't need to rest my cigar on that. And this glass is a gift from one of my cousins, Shay. So she got me this for my birthday last year. So that's what this is. This is a cigar glass. It is not some contraption that I use to drink out of my nose or whatever the hell. But that's these young guys. They really don't understand what the lifestyle entails. And so I just wanted to do that. But really, I want to shout out all the fans. We really appreciate all of the feedback that we've gotten, a lot of the support. So we appreciate the comments, good and bad. Yeah. I love them. So keep commenting, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button. But other than that, I'm ready to go.
All right, so today we decided to do a little bit different, shake things up. And so instead of having one big show about one main topic, we got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. There has just been so many things that have happened since last time that we were here with you all. And we were just like, you know what? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So we're going to just kick this off with something that I saw. Well, actually something that Jimmy saw online. And it was about pet peeves. Just kicking it off with pet peeves. And it described that there are kind of 4 type of pet peeves. And kind of which one do you gravitate a little bit more? So your 4 choices are people who are always on their phone. Always on their phone. Second choice is people that are always late, people that act flaky, and people that act different depending on who's around. So what is your pet peeve? What type of person is your pet peeve?
I would think for me, one big pet peeve for me is people that change when they get around other people. Me personally, just being where I'm from, coming from Miller Projects and, being around what I consider, authentic people. I don't like people that change. Now, I get it that in certain situations, you can't be a nigga. You may have to flip that, but I'm talking about your overall personality, who you are, the core of your values and things like that. When people say, oh, they acting brand new and shit when they get around other people, it's that type of thing. So I don't like people like that. So, but hey, it is what it is. And the other thing is, people that are late. I don't like excessively late people. But the other stuff, being on your phone, that don't bother me. I don't know why people are on their phone. I know a lot of people that make money off of their phone. So, who are me? It doesn't really bother me if a person is constantly on their phone doing whatever. It really doesn't. So,
okay. For me, out of these 4 choices, because I do have other pet peeves, but out of these 4 choices, I definitely think the whole people that act different depending on who's around. Especially depending on who this person is and who they're acting funny around. I think that's really serious, because to me that's kind of showing part of your character. Yeah. And I feel like if I was always taught your word is your bond. So if your word is your bond and that's what you got, and you switching it up depending on who your audience is, then most likely you may not be a trustworthy person. At least in my book, you may not be a trustworthy person. So to me, that is a huge pet peeve. I think you should just be solid no matter who you're around.
No doubt.
I guess I give you that. I think you the same around everybody.
I try to be for the most part. I think I am.
I think
whether I'm in a corporate setting, whether I'm, hanging out with some of the homies, whether I'm around working with some of the youth, some of the things that I do, or whether I'm teaching in, a seminar, giving a speech. Now, you do tailor things for your audience, but at the core, you still remain exactly who you are and things like that. You don't compromise certain things about you. There are certain things that are non-negotiable, and you don't compromise those things. Like I said, your ethics, your morality, those things like that. Those things you just don't compromise for nobody.
That is true. I think my second thing, and I hate to be this person because, man, I feel like I'm being that person, but I'm kind of tired between people that are always late and honestly, sometimes people who are always on their phone. And with the phone thing, for me, it depends on the environment. Because there's some environments where I could give a fuck less what you're doing on your phone. Like, I could care less that you're standing there on your phone for 10, 15 hours. I could care less. But in certain environments, I don't think you should be on your phone. I always remember this, a job I had where my supervisor in our meeting, literally a one-on-one meeting, and the person was on their phone. And it wasn't anything pertaining to our meeting. They literally was doing, like, on their phone. And I was just like, okay, you're not giving me your undivided attention. So in that case, people always been on their phone.
Well, I have to disagree with you there because I had a situation where it almost went left with a supervisor of mine. I showed up to the meeting. At that time, I had one of those big fancy note phones, big ass gigantic phone, looked like an iPad. And they were like, "So you're not gonna take notes at the meeting?" And I was like, I pulled out my stylus pen. I'm like, I'm writing the notes in a thing, and it converts to a Word document. And it was like she felt so embarrassed because she really tried to use that, and so that for me, it really exposed who she really was because she thought she had me in a trick bag, but in reality, she exposed and overplayed her hand that she was now using this as a means to try to come at me. But in reality, I was just using the available technology without having to lug all of that shit across campus. I don't need to bring all that stuff when everything is right here, converts to a Word doc, save it in Google, and I can send it to anybody right then and there. And it's a shareable file, and it's a livable document. So that's why I don't get caught up with that because you can use technology for your benefit.
That's true. Now, what about the people who are always on their phone, meaning that literally their whole day is on the phone? Meaning that from the time that they wake up, that they're recording how they wake up, they're recording how they brush their teeth, what they eat for breakfast, all that type of stuff.
I don't have really much more to say besides I don't really care. Why would it bother me that a person is on their phone? I could care less. That's on them.
Okay, well, we could agree to disagree that being on your phone all the time could be a bad thing or a good thing. But being on your phone in this next story is kind of like a bad thing. And I'm just going to bring this up. Something I hadn't heard of. And that is this Tessa Ressa lady who has made this 52-part mini-series on her phone. All from her phone, literally just using her phone as a camera crew with this "Who the Fuck Did I Marry" mini series. Had never heard about it until recently, but it has really been the hype. Do you know anything about what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, initially I had heard about it, but I really don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff. And so, only reason why I paid attention because I read New York Times, Washington Post, and the Chronicle of Higher Education. I read those every day. And so the first article on last Monday was this who the fuck did I get married? This TikTok series is a 52-part 10-minute long episodes. I think it's like 10 hours total if you was to sit and watch all this shit. I didn't waste my time watching none of that shit. I just read the Washington Post article and what I gathered and I did Go. I did watch. I did watch about 60 seconds of the first episode, and that was
just 60 seconds.
Just a minute. I didn't need nothing else.
She didn't really say nothing in 60 seconds.
She gave the background of what she was about to get. Yeah, she did the first minute or so. She told you what she was about to do, and blah blah blah. Because I did read the first.
I did.
But I didn't watch. I didn't watch no more than a minute.
First episode, and I watched half of the second episode.
But what I'm getting at, I did hear about it, and really quickly, honestly, I want to, whoever this young lady is, I just want to shout her out. I think that this is one of the biggest hoax. I think the shit is made up. Without me even having watched all of this shit, I just knew that it was fake from the get-go because I done heard this story to try to paint, man, black guy as this fucking villain. And they just do all of this crazy stuff, and she's this passive victim. So for me, I just thought it was an attempt. I think it's a really great nonfiction audio book type of show, and it adds up to 10 hours, which is the same amount if you had a 10-season, 1-hour episode apiece of a regular show that you would watch on TV. So I think she made all of it up. None of the stuff I haven't seen the guy speak about it, claim as a guy, but who's to say he's not an actor? There have been no witnesses to corroborate none of the stuff that she's talking about. And so without me even watching the stuff, that I initially thought that it was a hoax and a lot of this stuff was made up and things, because I just can't believe that somebody who appears to be intelligent, that she would just get played from top to bottom like that with some of that shit. I mean, but don't get me wrong. The flip side of it is that there's a lot of women who bought into it and believed it, because unfortunately there are a lot of women who are reliving trauma, I guess, through her video or audio book or whatever you want to call it, video episodes. And I ain't gonna lie, I know for a fact there's a lot of bogus niggas out there. But at the same time, I still think that her show was a hoax, but that doesn't take from the fact that some of the stories that she told could have been true, but I don't think it actually happened to her. I think that's all made up. I think it's all made up. There are no witnesses.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one to say that it's a hoax. I'm disagreeing in a sense to say that it's a hoax, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't necessarily think that it's a hoax. The reason why I say that is because and I'm not going to say, because people conjure up stories all the time. So I'm not even saying that a woman can conjure up a story, but to be so elaborate, to go to the length of taking the time to recreate, remember, tell this story, try to include
that shit sounded like
and in the process, embarrass yourself. Because that's the thing. Yeah, she may be vilifying some man or whoever this man is, but she's also putting herself out there and making herself look vulnerable because of the stupid, well, I'm not going to say stupid, but because of the decisions and mistakes that she may have made throughout this, I guess, 2 to 3 years supposedly relationship.
That's what makes you buy into the scam, because she's putting herself, that's part of the whole scam.
But I wouldn't say it's a hoax though. I would say it's a story that is just hard to believe, because you're just thinking, because she used this terminology, United Nations of red flags. And she said, when I use this term, this means that this is part of all the different red flags that this guy was throwing out at me. But for whatever reason, I chose. And she says that I ignored them. And so with that being said, I wouldn't say it's a hoax. I just think that, I don't know, maybe it's one of those situations where she gravitated to him because she was lonely. She was looking for a man. He provided that, and that's what it is.
I think it plays into this once again, this single black female, single female coat thing, sort of thing. I think so. Some people may disagree, but I think that's what it plays into. That's the audience that it's feeding anyway, because they use it now to make broad generalization just about the dating scene period. So every guy out there is on bullshit. When I don't really believe it's like that. I just think that she had a bad choice in character, and now she needs somebody to blame.
Now, that could be true. I mean, I think if any woman go through some relationship and it's a fucked up relationship and you end up breaking up. And I think any man go through that where you looking for somebody to blame.
But I tell you guys
you're
this.
supposed to blame yourself, but you're still looking for somebody to blame.
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not really trying to put this out there, and I'm not going to disclose a name, but I know somebody personally where, guys, don't be out there bullshitting and playing with them women like this. I know for a fact, I know a young lady right now who is doing close to 20 years in the federal penitentiary for murdering a guy about a year or so ago who was playing games with her, where she felt that she was playing games. And whether it's, you get into, right and wrong and all that, the fact remains that he was killed and she killed him. And she was convicted she ended up pleading guilty to second-degree murder. And she's in federal penitentiary doing close to, I believe, 18 years because of this. And this is a personal friend. Been right here, down here in the Boom Boom Room. So, yeah.
Well,
so don't play with the women.
I would tell you this. It all sounds like the next topic, which is, I ain't gonna lie, it sounds like either a Tubi movie or it definitely sounds like a Tyler Perry movie. Speaking of which, Mia Culpa. Let's just start, because there's like a couple things all with this, but let's just start with this Mia Culpa. So Mia Culpa came out Friday. And I'm not gonna lie, I was geeked. I'm not gonna lie, I was a geek to watch. It was Friday. Jimmy was like, "Yeah, what we gonna watch?" And I said, "Well, they say this new movie coming out with Kelly Rowland and this, and we should watch it." Within 20 minutes, this nigga was asleep, snoring.
Tyler Perry sucks, bro. I don't do Tyler Perry.
Pause, because Tyler Perry don't suck. But some of his movies may suck.
Yeah, that was wild.
I would say this. And it's funny because on the internet, all the women are saying like, "Oh, the paint scene was the best scene out of the movie. The paint scene between the two was the best." And I was like, it was creative. It was good. It was a good scene and all that. But overall, I don't know. It's just, I feel like...
All right, real quick, the paint scene. Realistically, people that have sex, that shit look cool artistically, but that shit, you ain't having that shit in real life. Ain't no way in hell
you can be creative.
A girl is letting that shit get into her coochie. And
That's not what I was expecting.
And I'm not taking the chance that shit gonna go in my pee hole. I'm just keeping it real. Next thing your ass,
like
you got some motherfucking infection. I do some oil, but I ain't fucking with all that paint. That shit look good on the movie, but in real life, I don't know. That shit messy. Who gonna clean that shit up? I ain't cleaning that shit up.
So my question, okay. And Mia Culpa is just like a lot of other Tyler Perry movies. So my question is just with Tyler Perry alone. We're not gonna even jump into Tubi yet, but just with Tyler Perry alone. Are we getting tired of these Tyler? I mean, like, is there something wrong with Tyler Perry making these movies, making all this money off of it? Is it the problem that nobody tells him these movies suck? Is it the problem that he used the same writers, he's using the same costume people? Because these dudes always have these bogus toupees or wigs on their head. The main character always has a bogus wig. I don't know what it is with Tyler Perry, and I don't know, is it because he's like the power man now, but... Can we tell him to sit down? Can we tell him to stop making movies?
Well, I think what it is that it's real simple. He's just trying to emulate. I didn't really watch the movies. It's Tyler Perry, but from what I gathered and for what you told me, is that Tubi is big, and it was like a Tubi-ish type of movie. And so what I think he's doing is he's trying to get. He already had the older black church-going crowd. So now I think he's trying to aim now at the younger black women. And a lot of black women like the Tubi style of movies. And so, hey, you can like whatever you want.
Not all black women.
And so, not all, but I mean, it's very popular. And so I think that what he's doing is he wrote something to sort of cater to that. And it's on Netflix. He's not going to put it. I just wonder why. My question really was, out of all of it, was why didn't he put it on BET Plus and not Netflix?
Ooh, maybe Netflix paid more money.
That's my question. And I assume that's what it was. Netflix gave him a bigger bag.
Okay.
And that's the reason why he do it. But at the end of the day, he should be promoting, because isn't he an owner or thought about owning BT Plus or some shit like that? So I don't know, but anyway, nonetheless, I thought maybe why didn't he release it on that, since he's used that platform in the past to promote and market a lot of his shows and movies and stuff, or why didn't he put it on their own network?
That's a good question. Hey, I hope somebody got an answer to it.
I think it's all about the bag. So,
what about Tubi? So, Tubi. This is funny because we avoided Tubi for a long time. We had this conversation a few weeks ago with some other people about Tubi. And some people like Tubi and some people don't like Tubi. And so I'm not gonna lie, we were in the beginning, we were like, nah, we're not watching Tubi, but then we started getting into Tubi. Shout out to Tracy. I would say Tracy was one person that made me curious about Tubi and Tubi movies with her movie reviews. So do you think Tubi, because a lot of people say that Tubi has stereotypical black movies. No. Do you think that's true, and do you think it's a problem with networks like Tubi? Do you think they exploiting the black community, all that stuff? Do you think there's something wrong with it?
You know, honestly, when I first discovered Tubi, I was looking for an old, I think, Richard Pryor movie. And and Tubi had them, you know. So Tubi has that sort of catalog of movies, especially black movies, that you're not going to find on Netflix or the other streaming platforms like Hulu and things like that. So it has that catalog of black movies, the black exploitation movies and things like that. So I think what it does is provide a platform for a lot of up-and-coming black filmmakers. Particularly, I've seen a lot of people out of Detroit area, out of New York, out of the South of Miami and Atlanta, and it gives these folks the opportunity and the platform to put their movies out. And I tell you this, it's no different than what the new media is. And I think what Tubi shows is that media is changing, and they're providing the content that people want. People don't want 2-hour movies, 2.5-hour movies. They want an hour, hour and a half movies. They want movies and stories that are relevant to them. And then most importantly, they want people that look like them. So the storylines, the narratives reflect the culture and the background that they come from. The people look like them. So a lot of the stories are relatable. Yeah, some of the technical aspects, the cinematography may not be as good, but the storytelling is just as good. So I think there is a space for Tubi. I think Tubi just shows you where the new media content is going, and is moving away from those traditional platforms.
Is it ratchet?
I don't think. I think there's
Tubi ratchet.
No, I think Tubi has a. If you look at Tubi catalog, it has a wide collection of all of that. So it does have that ratchet aspect, but then it also has the other stuff too as well that I talked about. I mean, they got documentaries on Tubi about black folks that you're not gonna see on Hulu or Netflix or any like Prime Video. It's just not. So I think Tubi does serve a purpose, and I actually looked it up. It was I think it was started initially by an Arab guy, if I'm not mistaken, and he sold it and made a lot of money off of it. Because I was looking to see, you know, how do you go about once again investing in it and things like that to see if it was a publicly traded company, but it's not. So, but yeah. Tubi is shaking things up, and I think the Tyler Perry movie was an example of trying to emulate that Tubi style type of storytelling.
Speaking of shaking things up, so you know, I feel like it's always different when you have a song that you like, you have an artist that you like, and you listen to their music in your car. You don't have a visual of it, so you don't think anything of it. You just like the song, and it's different once you actually see the video. And recently, I just seen the video of Drake, his Rich Daddy video with Sexy Red. And I never say her name right. Is it SZA? 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 I never say her name right. SZA. So this video, I'm not going to lie, this video had me pausing for a second with my mouth open because I was like, Dad, I couldn't believe that. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to lie. And this is me judging. I'm going to take it was me judging. I was like, Dad, they're pretty close, Drake and Sexy Red. Like, okay, what is this fascination that Drake has with Sexy Red? And then I thought, hell, a lot of dudes may like a Sexy Red type of woman, even if she is what she is.
Man,
but
Drake had a baby with a stripper.
now you just saying Drake like anything. Is that? Are you saying Drake like anything?
These niggas like that's what he like.
Cause it just, I know videos tell a story, but it was just like to see this. I was
Nigga
just
like what he like.
This dude
He
worked
like
millions, and he loved him some Sexy Red. And it's weird because you hear the regular homies in the hood, man, I don't like no Sexy Red. I wouldn't touch her. I wouldn't let her touch on me. But then you see this dude who's worth billions, all lovey-dovey with her and everything. But the whole point is that, is she doing too much? Because, you watched the video like me. Your reaction was like, man, she in the hospital twerking.
Let me just say, it was nigga madness run amok. It was just straight nigga madness.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know what to say. From the girls dancing and drinking.
In the hospital.
They was having a party after she was having a baby.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that I guarantee you're going to see some niggas around the country getting their ass arrested because they're going to try to pull that shit when they having babies and their ass is going to go to jail if they try to. I think they was. I don't think they was smoking no weed.
No, but they was drinking.
But they were drinking and partying. Hey,
it's not something you would see in the hospital.
I get it. They celebrating life, but they took the nigga madness. I tell you this, when I had my 2 kids, I wasn't doing no shit like that.
So the question is, does Sexy Red do too much? Because, a lot of women like Sexy Red. I had a young person tell me that he didn't like Sexy Red because he just didn't like how she was making the young girls act. And he said he just see a lot of girls just acting wild because of Sexy Red. And I'm not gonna lie, it didn't really make me think about it until younger. This dude was like 18 years old, and it made me really pause and think about it. So as an older man, because I know you have different views about women than a younger dude, what are your thoughts with Sexy Red? You think she's doing too much?
No, I mean I grew up in the golden era of hip hop. So first person come to mind, they all emulate her is Lil' Kim. I met Lil' Kim, and I met the old Lil' Kim before she transformed. She's actually really beautiful and nice looking in person.
She was.
We met Lil' Kim, and she had on a bikini. I remember this with the fur coat. Remember that she came out in this thing in the crowd, and she had the bad body. This was way before all the transformations when she was Lil' Kim. But anyway, they all emulate that, and so I have nothing wrong with a woman being in control of her body, saying what she wants. This is the other thing. I think what throws people off is the sexuality because she's very open about her sexuality and expressing that. Me personally, I don't have any issue. I love it.
It's no different than Sukihana.
I don't have any issue with Sukihana, honestly. My thing is that, once again, you control what you consume. And so I think that what rap music has always done is emulate the culture that's out there. So Sexy Red is not creating culture and making women do certain things. She's just reporting on what she sees and what she does. And this is what's out there now. Some people may have an issue with it. That's a whole nother conversation. But I'm not going to put Sexy Red and saying Sexy Red is destroying black women and things like that. Is she ratchet as hell? Hell yeah. And the beautiful thing is she says she ratchet. And like Juicy J says, we love them ratchet hoes. So that's just the way it go, man. So you can say what you want, but guys love her, women love her. So I don't have a person from an artistic point of view. Now, is it my music? Is it on my playlist? Am I listening to that shit?
Yeah, time out. I'm going to say this. I'm just going to pause for a second. Now,
she got a couple songs where she's featured on like Lil Durk or somebody like that.
She got a couple songs that give you a good workout vibe. I listen to her when I work out. I'm not going to lie. It's a couple songs I like. That Ski. I do like that song when I'm working out. Like when you need that last push.
I better not see no niggas doing Ski. Y'all better not be doing this shit around me. I'm going to call y'all out.
as Jimmy say, nigga madness. Speaking of nigga madness, we got to talk about this before we go. There's two things we got to talk about before we go. Cam Newton. You know, I'm going to tell you something. So, I was always a fan of Cam Newton when he first came out in football. Always liked him. Always was a fan of Cam Newton. I'm not going to lie. I thought he got weird. I'm not going to lie. It's like he disappeared and he came back. To me, I thought he was being weird, but I'm not going to lie. I still like Cam Newton. I like his show, things of that nature. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the hair. I don't like the wigs. I don't like all that. But Cam Newton, did you see this video where he whooping on 3, not 1, not 2, but 3? And did y'all see that his hat never came off? It never tipped to the left. It never tipped to the right.
Just Google the video, Cam Newton.
It is amazing. It's not amazing that he got into a fight, but it's just amazing that Cam was able to handle himself and be able to not.
So for people who don't know, because the people may not even know who Cam Newton is, but for people who don't know, Cam Newton used to play football. Former Heisman winner, played on Carolina Panthers, took him to the Super Bowl, didn't win, known as Superman. This dude was phenomenal. He's like fucking 6'5", like 260 pounds. He's in top-notch shape. He can play right now if he wanted to. All right, he's not in the league anymore. And so he was having a 7-on-7 camp. He does every year. And I thought that these were some of the campers. So I thought they were so little.
He got jumped by some kids.
I thought they were kids. He was slinging that. These were actually grown men. These were actually other coaches. They were just little compared to him. Because and they must not seen none of his video because shit, it didn't took like 5-6 NFL linebackers couldn't take this dude down. And so he was just slinging their asses. But it just really, to me, it just really speaks to, I guess what's going on with youth sports, a lot of the negativity, the type of coaches that you have, because at no point in time should a coach allow his emotions to have the best of him and he lose it. That was one of the things I had when I used to coach with my cousin back in the day. We used to do bitty basketball.
Greg used to go crazy.
And my cousin used to just wild out. And he's like, well, I'm going to work the
Bobby Knight style.
He said, I'm going to work the rest. I'm using up my text. But I was like, no, man, we can't be doing it. Because the kids would feed into that, and then they'd be on the court wilding out too. They're like, shit, I got a tech I can use. Next thing you know, we done gave up 10 free points to niggas. But yeah, I think coaches, though, you have to emulate the behavior that you want. And so, but on the flip side, Cam has the right to defend himself. Because I see some niggas walking up on me. I'm going to give you the business, whether you're 4 feet tall or whether you're 8 feet tall. So
I actually had that happen when I had an old job where actually 2 women walked up on me and one of them actually proceeded to touch me. And you can't you have the right to defend yourself. Speaking of the right to defend yourself, we got to say something about this before we go. Puff Daddy, is he the new Black Weinstein? Is he the new? We call him a sexual predator? What would you say about all this? Because it's like, it just seems like it's coming out.
Wow.
I gotta hear your take on this.
I'm gonna give you the short version real quick.
Okay.
I predict, and you guys heard it from here.
Okay.
I got a lot of friends, not a lot, but I got several friends that are lawyers, and we were talking, and just having conversation. Puff Daddy's gonna get hit with a RICO charge in about a year. Yep. Okay. They're setting his ass up for major RICO charges. I briefly scanned the Cassie lawsuit document, and there's so much shit going on. So it's a couple things. First, the Cassie thing. That shit bogus as hell.
Yes.
I believe that young lady 1,000%. And the reason why he settled is because he knows that these folks are going to be, A, building a case against him, the feds, and then 2, Cassie is going to be potentially the main witness. All right? If you read this shit, and so That's why he gave that young lady her money and settled, because he wants to keep her quiet and Team Puffy as much as he can, if he can even do that.
Team Puffy.
So that's that. Now, this other stuff about him and his sexual behavior, I'm not getting into that, because for me, I wouldn't engage in some of the stuff they're saying he's doing, but if it's with consenting adults, male or female, long as it's not with no kids, it's not in a situation like with Cassie, I could care less. In her situation, she talked about being forced and being assaulted.
Yeah, I do think that was
so
different.
that's different.
That's different.
So, but him engaging in wild freak sex parties and things like
other
that.
Men, famous men, and
if they consented to that, I wouldn't be in no stuff like that. But that's on them. And so that's what he. So I think the guy, when you look at that, I think what I looked at is, you peel back the layers, I think he has a sex addiction. And I think along with addiction, that type of addiction, I believe there's some substance abuse. Now, I'm not saying that the guy is a junkie, but in order to do some of the things that he's doing,
you got to be on drugs.
You got to be on some type of drugs or something. So he's either abusing alcohol or he's abusing some other type of drug. Pills, cocaine, whatever. I don't know. Allegedly.
Speculation.
Allegedly. But I'm just saying. So there's a lot of things going on. So the sex addiction and substance abuse, the brother has a lot going on. If I was him, honestly, I would literally disappear from public view.
Yeah.
I would sell all my properties in New York, Miami, the Malibu property, the other properties that niggas don't know about, the properties in Atlanta. I will sell out, and I will fold my tent, and I will go somewhere. I would physically leave the country, because they're coming, and I will go to a country that has a no extradition treaty with the United States, because his ass they coming for him. So and every day is some new shit coming out. I personally can't keep track of it. Don't try to keep track of it. But the guy is out there. But the flip side of it is, we still gonna listen to his music. Who, y'all gonna stop listening to Biggie? Y'all gonna stop listening to Bad Boy's Greatest Hits? No. Craig Mack?
I don't know, if 112.
I'm just saying.
Those some of my favorite.
I'm just saying.
CDs, so.
Y'all gonna stop listening to Mary J. Blige?
No.
This guy's hands into. I mean, this guy's pretty. When you look at 90s and to early 2000s music, this guy is all over it.
He's all in it. That is true. So, that is true.
It's crazy.
I would say this.
But what do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. At the end of the day, who cares? And I'm gonna be honest. This is coming from a new place that I found with this. When it comes to people and their sexual behavior and all that, there's a lot of freaky fucking people out here. I'm just being honest with you. We've seen a lot. You see a lot when you go to different places. You travel different places. So some of this shit that we may think is deviant sexual behavior, in some cultures, some places, may not be deviant. It's deviant because that's what society set up, that you can't fuck in public, you can't walk around naked, you can't get head in public, different things like that. But, hey, I don't care. He like it, I love it. As long as he ain't trying to call Jimmy to no hotel room at 1 o'clock in the morning like Columbus Short claimed he did with him, I could care less. I really could. Now, when it crossed the lines of minors and things of that nature,
man,
that's different. But, hey, he got the money. He can afford to do that. He can afford to trick off. He got that girl Young Miami. Obviously, she's into the bullshit. She said on her own show she like getting pissed on. Now, I ain't crossed that path.
What I found out is that not only do a lot of people like getting pissed on, but a lot of people like double penetration too. That's a whole nother
thing. We're going to have a show about sexual shit like that. But for this one, I think it's just people trying to out him because Cassie came out with her lawsuit and he settled fast. And I think that people saw that as an opportunity to be able to come out with some old stories that they participated in a way of turning it in cash. Honestly, I think that's part of what's going on.
I think you make something you just said that we need to go back real quick. I want to piggyback on is that outing him. And so I thought that one of the big things, especially about the LGBTQ community, was that you're not supposed to out people, right? And so I think that that's what some of the people, the public, is trying to do, is out Puffy for, I guess, some of his sexual behavior. And then, but for me, that's different from the sexual predator stuff. That stuff with Cassie is just bogus.
That's different. Now, that was predatorial behavior if you read it. That was bogus. I don't condone that.
This is what I wanted too with the Puffy thing was, I know with Bill Cosby, he was brought up on charges, from stuff that happened in like the 70s and the 80s. I just wondered why, based off some of the stuff she said, I thought they was going to put Puffy ass in bracelets. I thought only thing I could think is the state laws. The state laws are different, or he has good lawyers. That's the only, because I was like, that's why I think that I truly believe that Puffy eventually is going to get caught up in a RICO indictment, and that's the reason why they didn't press him on this, because they're going to get him on bigger charges.
I definitely hope not, but it would be interesting to follow up to see what happens.
He got rich nigga problems, so that's all.
Yeah, because ain't nobody in the hood I know getting sued for sexual stuff like this. Hey. Again, his behavior, he does it behind closed doors. It is his thing. As long as he's not messing with no kids. If you want to go mess with other grown men, as Dwayne Howard say, what I do in my bedroom and who I lay my wood to is my business. Pause on that one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like Dwight Howard.
I mean,
and that's not allegedly. He's on record as saying that he engages in sexual activity with men.
That is his business. That's his business. Goddamn business. So we're going to leave it at that. Final thoughts. Final thoughts for this show. I just want to have a final thought with the actual question. If we have a few seconds for this. And that is, what is the one piece of advice you would tell your younger self? If you had 60 seconds to just give your younger self some advice, if you could go back in time and use that actual advice, what would that be?
One thing I would have did was I had an opportunity to travel abroad to Brazil back in like 2000. I would have done that. I would have taken that opportunity. But at that time, I was doing 662 Entertainment, and we was making moves. We was getting that money. So I had other things that distracted me. But I would say taking advantage of that international travel opportunity. The other thing I would tell myself is to invest more. I wish that I had gotten into investing at a younger age. One of the secrets I learned about how people get wealthy is being consistent and doing things over a long time. And a lot of people don't realize that reason why Warren Buffett, who was the guru of investing, is that he started investing, I believe, like when he was 9 years old. And so by the time he was 30, he had already amassed $1 million, which was almost equivalent to like $20 million at that time. And so a lot of it has to do with the reason why he's so good at it is not because he's just smarter than other people. It's because he's done it so long. And when you do things for so long, you get better and better and better and better at it. And so for me, that's what I would have told my younger self is got more into the investment. But a lot of it has to do with where you're situated in life. As a poor person, you're not taught to think like that. And so because of my situation and status in life at that time, I wasn't. But that's the one thing I would tell myself to do is invest more and travel and take advantage of those international travel opportunities.
I would say if I could give my younger self advice, I think the biggest thing that I would say is just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make those decisions. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to put yourself first. Don't be afraid to have that confidence. I think sometimes we grow up with some of those habits of always catering to other people, always just being used to that, and so that's how you become. You always afraid to say no. You're always thinking of other people first, and it ends up putting yourself last. So I definitely would say that just go for it. Don't say no. Take risks. Live life. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Catch us next week. Not just like, and we love the fact that people are liking it. Please subscribe. We have a YouTube channel, the Let Us Talk channel on YouTube. Join us on Spotify as well as Amazon as well as Facebook. We have a TikTok page, Instagram page. Have anything, DM us, email us. With that being said, any last things, the D.O.C?
Nothing. I love you folks. Appreciate you folks, and we'll see you next week, God willing. Peace.
Yes, peace.
Cigar Junkies flask on deck.